to Viewpoint from Overseas. I'm your host, Misbah Azam, and I have my guest, Mr. Raheel. Today's show is a little bit different. Just two of us are here. Ali Hassan Samantor and Faraz Darwish have some engagements, some personal engagements, so they are not available with us. Hopefully next week one of them will be here. Tonight we will be talking some special issues going on around us and inside in all part of the world. First issue we will be talking about a little bit about there is a very great actor and human rights activist, I could say that, Mr. Om Puri. He just passed away just in the age of 66 years of his age. So we will spend some time chatting about his life, his background. Then we will move on to the recent report came by the intelligence agencies, 3 intelligence agencies in United States. It's like 14-page declassified part of that report, which is all published in the newspapers, New Yorker, New York Times, Washington Post and all other, and most of the media is talking about it, which is in one way kind of concluding that there was a lot of intervention from the Russian government, and especially President Putin personally was involved in that intervention. So I will ask Raheel Saab how he sees all that. Then we will talk something about there is a Panama case going on in Pakistan, and a lot of controversy on that, and now it is in the Supreme Court, and as time is progressing there is going to be a little bit more progress in that, if you will. And as we see it, that things are getting a little bit clear now more and more, and we have yet to see how it ends up. So we will talk about it, and if time permits we will talk a little bit about the monetization impact on Indian economy, which is now slowly coming out, and some magazines like Forbes magazines and some experts like Jatinder Singh, and they were talking about it, and they were writing articles about that issue. So Mr. Raheel, how you see Mr. Om Puri's sudden death, and how do you see him as an actor, as a person? I use the word human rights activist, although he's not declared human rights activist, but personally the way he was always the love of the human and love of India-Pakistan relationship, good relationship. That's why I use this word. Maybe you disagree with me on that, but please say something.
Well, I think I would call him, first of all, he was a great actor, a very accomplished one, and second, he was a very outspoken peace activist. He wanted good relations between India and Pakistan. He was always speaking to enhance cultural ties between the two countries, and he came under attack for that recently, because he spoke out after the Modi administration and the government in India and the Hindu nationalists decided to attack the cultural ties, to try to disrupt cultural ties that have played a significant role in diffusing tensions
between India and
between the two countries. Because we do have much in common in terms of our cultural preferences. You know, we like the same kind of music, and you know, we like similar stories, and so there's a lot in common there. And there were a lot of cultural exchanges in the past, even when there were tensions between the two countries. The cultural exchanges continued. But the worst part of the recent tensions has been that the Hindu nationalist government in India has decided to cut those cultural ties, which played an important role. So that is one of the concerns that he had, and he was speaking out against it.
Yeah, actually, it was very interesting the way his life was very interesting. His father was working for the railways, and then he was being accused of some mishandling or something. Then his mother took him, and they were living in the Koli, and I mean, very much a struggle in his life. His elder brother was working as a coolie in the railway station, and so. And they say that Nasiruddin Shah was his very good friend, and then later on Nasiruddin Shah kind of helped him getting into the movie screen, although he was already getting famous by acting in some theaters and all that. Ladies
I
and
think the big thing I saw, the first time I saw him was in East is East. That was a British movie. In which he played a British Pakistani father. George Khan was the name, the character that he played.
Yeah, recently he played a Pakistani movie also.
Yeah, so this was in 1990s when this British movie came out. And he did it pretty well, actually. He was quite convincing as a Pakistani father, who was kind of not particularly well educated, but very strict. Kind of spoke broken English, but he cared a lot for to make sure that the traditions he brought with him.
Yeah.
That his children are good Muslims. So it was a very interesting role.
Yeah.
And then more recently, I think I saw him in a number of other. One of the movies I saw him in was. The Charlie Wilson's War, in which he played Ziaul
Haq's role.
And I think that was done,
amazing.
Done quite well.
Amazing.
So not only did he have an affinity for Pakistan, but he often played roles.
In
which he portrayed a Pakistani
Yeah,
character.
that's true. It was very interesting. I mean, the thing is that I wish we can spend more time on talking about
The
it.
sad part is, though, he was very badly hounded.
By the right wing,
media. Arnab Goswami attacked him viciously.
Yeah, but he made Arnab Goswami almost on defensive.
Yeah, but later on, you know what happened? He was forced to apologize for what he said.
That's true. You are
and
right.
even then, they wouldn't let go. In fact, what I've read recently, there's a book called I'm a Troll by an Indian journalist, Swati Chaturvedi. Who was written about how the BJP actually runs professional troll operations, where they attack people in social media, actors, journalists, anybody who disagrees with them, and strays from the line that they expect them to follow, and they really, I think they put a lot of pressure on him personally. He apologized, and even then they wouldn't let go of him.
Yeah.
He was probably under a lot of stress, and that may have contributed to his massive heart attack.
That's true. I mean, you will never know about that because he had a habit of smoking too much also, and those kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he had the problem.
Yeah.
But there's at least a contributing factor could be the recent events. In
Yeah,
which
he was under
faced,
pressure.
so much pressure.
Yeah, because we saw some of the director has to go out and apologize on media. So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, Vyacheslav Motolov, he was Stalin's foreign minister, and while he was visiting to Berlin, it was the initial days of the Cold War, he said that the trouble with the free elections is you never know how they will turn out. So recently there is a report came out by the US intelligence agencies, which is National Intelligence Agency, then CIA, and then FBI. And they claim that Russian government was involved in this hacking of US elections. Now this report is kind of creating lot of troubles inside United States, and it is putting President-elect Trump in a very bad situation, because if anything like that comes out, as a President of United States, what are his duties. His first duty is to go ahead and work on it and try to find the truth about it. Would he do it or not? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the conclusions of this report are damning in the sense that they say that the not Soviet, but Russian government
This FSB
used their resources, intelligence resources, and their media resources, all of the resources or propaganda campaign, machine that they have, to help Donald Trump win and hurt Hillary Clinton's chances. So it's very, very clear on that. Now, he doesn't say that Donald Trump won because of it, but it says it's beyond our mandate to come to that sort of a conclusion. But it clearly says that the Russians tried very hard to influence the information campaign, the propaganda campaign, the elections itself, to try to help Donald Trump and hurt Hillary Clinton.
So, tell me something about it. There is some terminology in US, but internationally used, Orwellian nightmare, okay? I say this thing in one other way. There is a very famous author, he was in the National Security Advisor team of President Clinton also, Dr. Charles Kupchan. He had a book, 2002, in which he said a very interesting thing. He kind of created the human history into 5 major parts. One is nomadic, Second one is pre-agriculture societies, then agriculture societies, then industrial society. Fifth, which is last but not least, is a digital revolution society. Okay. That time, he was not very, into internet boom and all that. We can't talk about
way before that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But his book's name was The End of American Era. He says that due to the digital boom, due to the digital revolution, what will happen that US society will be in a way that people will talk less to each other, they will be having less control on things, and slowly we will be losing the direction of the world order. And time will come that will be start declining of US, this primacy in the world. Now you can see he is getting a little bit true, although not in the way he said, but this digital boom is the one which made this hacking. So I call it Kupchanian nightmare. Yeah.
So I think the thing to look at in the report is what they call essentially the information operations, where they don't just focus in or home in on the hacking part, which is just one part. It was a much broader campaign, as the Director of National Intelligence, General Clapper, said. It was a multifaceted campaign, which included putting out false stories, fake stories, websites, creating false websites, and using the social media to disseminate a lot of the disinformation. So what you said about digital revolution has actually made it easier to do those things than it ever was before. Now, by the way, he also said something to the effect that, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks.
Throw the rocks.
Now, there is a lot of documentation and evidence of the US doing the exact same thing in many elections in other countries over the last several decades.
The regimes.
Yeah, so we're basically the inventors of this. So there's a guy by the name of Dov Levin, who is a researcher at Carnegie Mellon University. He actually has created a database, he tracks these things. So between 1964 and the year 2000, he found 81 instances in which the United States tried to change the elections, tried to influence the elections in other countries. In some cases, they did it overtly. In other cases, they did that covertly. Most of the time, they did it covertly, but in some, they actually practically, paid the journalists, paid the local media to put out stories, to carry stories, planted stories. They also, used the NGOs and other think tanks and other organizations to create false stories and spread them and false data and research to try to persuade people to do something that they wanted them to do. So what is happening today is basically others are developing the same capacity that US had through the use of the social media.
But my main question is that here, I agree with you that, they do that. But let's talk about what will happen next. Okay, you did say that, and you quoted the FBI, the report, the intelligence report, which does not say that this is the reason why he lost. But that...
Oh, there's a reason why they did not conclude that. They said that it's beyond our mandate.
That's true.
We're not supposed to answer this question. Somebody else needs to answer it. The answer whether Donald Trump won because of it. But what they do say is that the intent of the campaign by the Russians was to create favorable environment for Donald Trump and to hurt Hillary Clinton by strategically putting out these stories at different times.
But what are the options for the Democratic Party now? I mean, are they able to go to Supreme Court and make these elections defunct and redo it? Because see that if there is a doubt there, and if it is so clearly, as the report says, then...
I think it's going to be very hard to prove that the results changed because of it. You have to produce that link, you have to establish that link between the influence campaign and the results. That's not easy to do. It's very, very hard. Now, intuitively, it makes sense that made a difference, but practically, it's very hard to prove it. So I think that's the other thing is that it could be so destabilizing for this country to throw out an election result that I don't think the judges would dare do that. It's going to be very dangerous for this country. But what it will happen though is, as a result of it, is that in the minds of a lot of the Americans, the legitimacy of Donald Trump will be in question, whether or not he's legitimate as president. And that will probably hurt his ability to do some of the things he wants to do because people are going to constantly question his mandates.
So let me ask the last question to you and then let's move to the other topic. Do you see it? This is the prediction of Charles Kupchan, the end of American era. Are we witnessing that end of American era?
I wouldn't rush to that judgment. I don't think that's accurate. See, all these media that the U.S., they're all created by the U.S. And U.S. has a lot of power to influence these media. I mean, look at all the big social media. They're all American creation, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or a lot of others. All they have to do is just change some of the search algorithms and Google and I mean, there's a lot of ways they can manipulate.
No, actually, I was
the results.
I was reading this article, and the person who is writing the article is arguing that winning of President-elect Trump, winning of Brexit, winning of Mr. Modi, winning of Philippines, then Turkish president's survival. This is all showing that kind of going downwards, things going downwards of a liberalism. Even Russian spokesperson for President Putin also said that all these things are now showing that. And in the same time, it is the revival time of Russia. Is it true? This is a true
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the Russian economy, it is now smaller. I think it's about the same size or smaller than Saudi Arabia's or something. I think it's like 1.2 trillion.
Okay.
It's a very small economy.
It's a very small economy so far.
They have, the military power, but even that is declining. I think one of the things to look at is their defense budget is no longer, in the top three.
Yeah.
The top three are United States, China, and India.
Yeah. No,
Russia is like number 5.
Number 5, yeah, that's true.
So I think that, now, what is possible though is that if Russia and China come together and create a strategy, then that could actually counter the U.S. influence, because Soviet Union is still a military superpower with thousands of
you mean Russia?
Russia is still a military superpower, and China is an economic superpower. So if you combine a military superpower with an economic superpower, then you have a very powerful combination.
Then there will be
So it depends on how they coordinate and cooperate in the new world order, and it seems like they're coming together.
Yeah, they are. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard Riaz's view about this, and time will come and we will see. It would be nice if we can have Dr. Kapchin in our show and talk to him about it and ask him what he predicted 2002. Is it going to happen or not? We will try our best to have him with us. Now let's move to the other topic. Before going to talk about Panama, very quickly, I would like to get your word on that, and I promise I cross my heart, I will not argue on that. How do you see General Raheel Sharif, retired General Raheel Sharif, joining quote unquote so-called Islamic coalition force? Just in 1 minute.
I think my view of it is that, he has done his part in terms of service to the nation. He, I think, will always be remembered for bringing Pakistan back from the brink. We were in serious trouble, and now we're on the way to recovery. Security situation is dramatically better. And I think we should let him decide what he wants to do with his future. We should not cast aspersions on a person simply because we don't agree with the decision he has made.
Oh, okay.
So I would give him the benefit of the doubt.
So you are saying basically, this is
it's his life, he's retired now.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's not.
He's got a lot of years left, so
That's
let him do
true.
it.
He's a very young guy. And
I just hope that he does not create further problems. I think he's a very smart guy personally. He might basically advise Saudis to not pursue the current path. He may actually help them find charter a better course.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, we will see what will happen. So Riaz, talk about a little bit Panama leak, the way things are moving now. It seems things are getting a little clear. And I have some chat with some media people in Pakistan, personal chat, and they were saying that situation is not good for Mr. Nawaz Sharif and his family. How you see it?
I mean, all of the presentations and data that I have seen so far make it clear that the Sharifs are having a very hard time proving the money trail based on their assertions. I mean, they have been saying conflicting, messages that they've been giving. First, they argued that it was from the sale of a steel mill.
Yes.
And then later on, they changed the story to a Qatari prince who gave them the money. And they have no money trail. They have no evidence of how the money moved. So one of the issues that's before the court is, obviously they can't prove that this money came from legitimate sources. Now, in normal cases, the onus of proof, a burden of proof, usually lies with the accuser, not the accused. That if, let's say, the PTI and Imran Khan is accusing, Sharif family of embezzling funds, of taking money and money laundering, then Imran Khan has to prove. But in money laundering cases in many countries, the laws have changed already.
Yeah.
What they have done, like in the United States, United Kingdom, many other jurisdictions, they have actually reversed the burden of proof. In money laundering cases, it is the accused who has to prove that the money that they have was acquired through legitimate means, not the accuser.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is becoming a problem. Now, how the judges go on this in Pakistan, the law in Pakistan is not so clear as it is in the United States. In the United States, it says the judges, and in the United Kingdom, the judges can, basically shift the burden of proof. In Pakistan, the law says that they can reduce the burden of proof required by the accuser, And they may have some flexibility, the judges. I mean, from the remarks I've heard from Justice Khosa, it seems that he's actually saying to the Sharif family, you have to show the money trail to prove that you got this money to buy flats in Mayfair area in London through legitimate means. Now the other two judges are not completely agreeing with it. At least Justice Azmat has something different, and I think another judge, Ijaz, I think has something else. So there is disagreement among the judges. Now whether or not they will ultimately decide, who has the onus of burden, there might be a split decision on that. And even when there is a split decision, they may not or actually convict the Nawaz Sharif. They may basically convict his children.
Yeah, but it will hurt.
Yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, it basically just increases people's doubts about it.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did talk about it. So there are three important events in Indian economy which dominated the whole year 2016. One event was that the brawl over Mr. Ratan Tata, who returned as an interim chairman after ousting the incumbent Cyrus Mistry. Then second one is the GST, which is expected to be coming in April, and the objective was to kind of replace all the tax levied by the federal government and the state with one central tax system. And the third one is the demonetization. Here it is on this GST. There is some kind of questions coming up and go, and some of the quarters were not very happy on that. However, now after this demonetization, they say that now this demonetization kind of caused further trouble for them. And there is a report, there is a Mumbai-based equity research firm, which the name is Ambit Capital. They estimates that due to this monetization in 2016-2017 fiscal year, there will be the GDP growth 2017 and 2018 would be 5.8 instead of 7.3, which was previously estimated. So Riaz, just tell us how you see that. I mean, was it a good decision that now their GST thing is probably going back? Previously it was saying that they are going to start from April, now it is going to September, and West Bengal's chief minister, finance minister, he's complaining and he's blaming this demonetization. So how you see things coming up, and also tell that how India-Pakistan relation has any relation with this issue?
Well, you know that in India, when they canceled the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, it immediately took out about 86% of the money in circulation. Now, in India, 90% of the transactions are in cash. So that has a huge impact on the economy when you take the cash out of the economy so quickly, so suddenly.
That's true.
You know, it was a very, very, done very poorly in a very abrupt manner. These things are thought through significantly, there's time given to it. They didn't want to do that. They thought they wanted a surprise and that would work. The other expectation they had is that, probably half of this money that they have taken out of the circulation, half of it would never come back to the banks because they thought that was black money. Turns out that more than 90% of it has already been exchanged. So their assumption that people keep black money in notes was wrong to begin with. They don't keep black money in notes. They keep that black money in property, in real estate or gold and other things.
That's true.
So all their assumptions have turned out to be wrong. At the same time, what we're seeing now is like this first piece of data that has come out post-demonetization is that the fast-moving consumer goods in the FMCG sector is seeing a slowdown from 1 to 1.5% in November alone. In 1 month, it's dropped 1 to 1.5%. And these are basic things that people use, like soap, for example, or things like toothpaste. So when this factor, and this is a fast-growing fast-growing sector in India, so that is seeing a decline. The other thing that they have seen is that the Hero motorcycle sales are down by a third. That's a big number. It's by a third, 33%. The other thing they're seeing, the credit growth is at 30-year low. All businesses run on credit. They take credit in order to run the businesses. When the credit growth is low, that means that the businesses are not looking for more credit. That means they're not looking to expand. So all of these factors are indicating a significant slowdown ahead. Now, this is the first pieces of data. Now, we have yet to see, I think the effect of it won't be fully understood for another several months when all the data comes in.
That's what...
so I think it's a self-inflicted wound.
That's correct. And a very similar thing Ambit Capital says, that almost 0.5% reduction, crash in the GDP growth.
It could be worse, actually. What they have reported, now this does not comprehend November. This is pre-November, pre-demonetization. They saw that the GDP growth declined from 7.5% to 7.1%. So the economy was already slowing down when they did this. So that will have a bigger, now they'll have an even bigger impact, so it might slow down even more than they anticipated.
And that's what they say, that by the time 17 and 18 fiscal year, it will go to from 7.3 estimated to 5.8.
So I think we're starting to see the hubris, the poor decision-making processes, in the Modi government, where they're basically not thinking through the consequences, and that's scary for India-Pakistan relations too. I hope their decision-making processes improve. Otherwise, if they miscalculate, they could have a pretty serious conflict here, and that could be dangerous for the entire region.
That's true. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the views of Riaz Haq on this Indian economy, how we will see it. We have yet to see. But most of the economic experts, they are kind of putting it in the same way like what Ambit Capital says and Dr. Jitendra Singh has said. So we have yet to see how things go. So this was all our show for today. This is your host, Misbah Azam. Keep watching Viewpoint from Overseas.